Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear this morning. We got a great show lined up. We'll get started with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at Highway 77 and Baldwin Road. Check those folks out. Got all kind of good programs up the road there. Weather, I know you're loving this cool weather. It's been a great week, and the rest of the week looks really good too. High today is going to be 84, and low tonight 61, and water temperature is staying around 80 degrees. So it's looking good all along the coastline here and inland. Okay, the river readings, Apalachicola is staying about where it's been, anywhere from 0.5 to 0.6. Been that way all summer long. The Choctawhatchee is dropping out a little bit. It's still dropping. It's at a 3.7. And it's going on down to about 3 foot in a couple of days. By the weekend, we're looking at maybe around 3 foot by Saturday. Okay. Now our tides, Panama City high tide is right at 5 o'clock, and low tide is at 3 o'clock. Okay. 5 o'clock this morning is high tide, and 3 o'clock this afternoon. Every once a week, I like to call Captain Blair Morgan, representing Blue Water Outriggers, and giving us a report for what's going on the eastern end of our viewing area. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, Winston. How you doing?
Oh, it's nice and cool up here. What about you?
Well, it's good and cool where I'm at. I'm up here in the woods.
Oh, okay. You're up there in the woods in Tate's Hell, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. You got a nice place up there. I bet it's beautiful up there this morning.
Oh, it is. It's a little bit foggy, but it's around 50 degrees right here. So.
Well, what's going on down there?
Well, as far as fishing, Winston, I talked to some folks from Georgia that went out in the St. Joe Bay, and they had a mess of nice trout they caught on jerk baits, suspended jerk baits. You know, they were fishing the deeper holes.
Okay.
And they had a lot of 3-4 pound fish. I mean, they had some beautiful fish.
Oh, that's great.
And they said they caught the limit 2 days in a row, so. The fish are, they're really starting to bite over there. And there's a lot of surf fishing going on. People catching the same thing, whiting and a lot of catfish and stuff. But right now, except for the tourists, from out of town, everybody's kind of getting ready for hunting season.
That's right.
And I saw where you went dove hunting this past weekend, and I've heard a lot of different reports on that. A lot of people say that they had a lot of birds before the little smack in the front come through and it run them off. I mean, it's just kind of so-so.
Yeah.
Kind of hit and miss type thing.
Well, all right. Well,
like I'm up here, I'm getting ready for hunting season. Bow season opens here in a couple of weeks.
That's right. It does. You've been practicing?
No, I haven't really been practicing, but I'm up here. I'm just getting things ready, trying to get me some firewood. It'll be here before we know it.
All right. That sounds good, Blair. Good report, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Winston.
All right. We'll see you later.
Okay.
All right. Captain Blair Morgan. He's got his place up the road there around Sumatra. If y'all know where Sumatra is, you know what I'm talking about. Let's take this break. We'll be back with our special guest. Oh, welcome back and welcome Ronnie Groom.
Morning, buddy.
Good morning, Ronnie. We're sitting here talking. Blair was mentioning that weather and it's cool air.
Oh, it feels good out there this morning.
It makes you want to head to the woods.
Oh, I'm ready.
I was looking on the calendar right here. We've got squirrel season coming up on the 13th and archery season coming up. And
it's all right here on us. Every year it's just a tradition for many, many families to go down and camp on the river and shoot squirrels. And it's great fun.
Yes, it is, and they moved it up a little bit earlier this year. So, but it's a great. If the weather stays like it is, it'll be
nice.
Time.
The river's low though.
Yeah. They won't be getting as muddy as they used to be.
No, but that's a great time for all the kids and a lot of the whole families go. The mothers, grandmothers.
Yeah.
Go down there and have a great time on the river.
It's a Panhandle tradition.
That's right. It's been. I remember when I used to do that a lot. You couldn't hardly get a parking place down at the camps on the river.
Yeah.
Too many people down there.
Yeah.
And guns sound like a war going on
all
down
the
there.
time. Boom, 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 boom.
That's right.
And you see, I know we did it over on the old Clockton River, and when I was a kid and all, and the same thing. I still can picture my dad had his old Army World War II knapsack on, and he'd always had squirrel tail sticking out the side. Right? That's something that's etched in my memory, and I don't know. He never counted them. He just
fried squirrels or squirrel stew or whatever. Good.
Yeah, put them apart and all that. So archery. The week after we're going to be in archery.
That's right. It's right here on us, and it's time to everybody to check all their equipment. Check your bowstrings and things like that. Make sure your bow's lubricated. Get out and shoot it some.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get there. Every year, Friday before the season opens, we have people coming in there just in panic. They got a serious problem or even a non-serious problem. My string broke.
Yeah.
Well, strings come in about 1,000 different sizes, and we carry probably 900. So if you got a problem, you need to take care of it right now and get it going.
Yeah, and definitely practice. We talk about that all the time.
Yeah,
right?
You need to go out and shoot and check everything out.
And it could be anything. We talked last week about, I was supposed to go out and practice shooting clays and all before I went dove shooting, and I didn't. I know that cost me 3 or 4 birds by just flat out missing them.
Yeah, I tell you, doves are hard to hit.
They are hard to hit.
I'm not a big wing shooter, I can tell you right now.
Yeah, they're tough. So you got some good archery stuff here?
I brought a few things of interest. You can use a crossbow now, and they're making special broadheads for crossbows.
Yeah.
And most people shoot 100 grain points, but they make 125. Some people like a heavier point. We carry both of those, so that's a good idea. But crossbows are really a good way to hunt nowadays. We got some of these new Swacker broadheads. They're Swacker. Yeah, you see them advertised on TV all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, we always carry all the old Rage heads. That's the most popular one out.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite, and I still use them, is the old Thunderhead. And the good thing about Thunderheads, they come 6 to a package. They're less expensive. Most of these things now just come 3 to a package, and they're pretty expensive. So I stick with the old Thunderhead until it's doing a good job, so I stay with it. And the Luminox. These are little Luminox. You see these on TV all the time now. It's amazing how bright they are. And you can find your arrow. You can know where you hit. And we got them for crossbows, and we got them for the regular bows. So Luminox are...
They just slide right in.
They go right in the nock. Yeah. And when you shoot it, it comes on, and it's amazing. I've seen people shoot just for demonstration 100 yards. You can see that thing arch down there for 100 yards. You can see it plain as day.
That's a good idea. We're going to start an archery unit in about 2 weeks. I think that'd be a good demonstration for the students. And all that.
It would be.
I may come by and get some of those.
Yeah, come by. We'll loan you some of them. And remember, we always are thinking of the girls now. Everything's pink for girls. We got the pink stuff.
All right. That's
and
cool.
Along with that, we've got the new Hunt Life. You've heard, Salt Life, Farm Life. Well, we've got Hunt Life now. Mm-hmm. We got decals you can put on your truck. We got caps. We got shirts. We got pink shirts for the ladies, and we got different colors for the men. And that's going to be a really big thing now. So you need to get in on that. That's a big thing.
This is really nice. It's just
we got pink bows. We got pink guns.
That's a good release right there.
Yeah. A release will make you a much more accurate shooter than fingers. I was probably the last one to give up fingers. I thought it was just the way to go, but you ever start using this release, you get a lot smoother, better release, and it just works better. Yeah.
All right, well, let's. We got some more stuff. We're going to take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So I'm Ronnie Groom from C&G, familiar face, but we've been talking about hunting that segment. In this segment, I've got a couple of fishing stories to tell you. Just check out this picture here. This is from Mexico Beach. This is sent to us by Mitch Coleman. This is Wes Rogers from Cleveland, Tennessee, with a 24-inch gag and a big trigger fish, and that caught some sand trout, 14 beeliner, 2 triggers, gag, king, and a lane snapper and a small shark. So that's a good report from Mexico Beach. The bottom fishing for gag in 45 to 80 feet of water with live pinfish has been doing really good this past week. And also some sand trout, been catching a lot of sand trout and some triggers and all. So Mexico Beach is doing real well. Thank you, Captain Mitch Coleman down in Mexico Beach for sending us that report and all. And don't forget this weekend now, the Elizabeth Bardolph Memorial Redfish Tournament up there at Porter Park in Lynn Haven. Run by and register either Friday afternoon, or you can register online at Elizabeth Bardolph Memorial Tournament, and it's going to be $30. It's from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and weigh-in starts at 11. It'll be fishing on Saturday from 6 to 3. Great cause. All that money goes to Boys and Girls Club for the Learn to Swim program in memory of Elizabeth Bardolph. So support that as a community. They'll have some lunches. If you want to just stop by there Saturday at the park right there at the bottom of the bridge there in Lynn Haven, stop by and get one of the lunches there. And so that'll be a good
Fishing's
cause.
good right now.
Fishing is excellent. You've been getting, tell us about that.
Oh,
big,
yeah.
You saw a big flounder? Or?
Yeah, Jim Moody came by the store the other day, and he said, "Come out, I want to show you something." He had a flounder, I bet you weighed 10 pounds. I mean, that thing must have been 3 inches thick. I mean, that was a really good flounder.
Oh, man, it has been good. I've been getting some good flounder reports. We had some good reports also on trout and everything over in East Bay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, fish are biting good now, and the
you
weather's good. You know, it's nice to get out there right now.
and one of your customers had a good time at Choctawhatchee River, caught some nice brim.
Yeah, they caught some brim down there. They red breast brim. They had 50 something, you know, and it was the finest string of fishes I've ever seen, freshwater fish.
Wow.
So now's the time to go, and the weather's cooperating, and the rain slowed down, so go.
And the thing about getting out on a boat along the river, the leaves are starting to change. Everything, it's just beautiful.
That's
just
right.
riding that boat up and down the river.
You know, we need to get the river up a little bit, though.
We sure do. Now I got a good report from Nathaniel Sledge, my fishing buddy on the Seminole Wind. They went to Depot Creek and they caught a good bass today. So it's been good for everybody.
Fishing's good.
Yeah. Okay. Now we had archery. Now we were talking about archery earlier. Have you already got a place scouted out pretty well when we go this time of year?
Yeah, I've got some stands just for archery.
Yeah.
You know, and then as soon as archery season's over, I will, you know, move them, back them up for gun season. But right now, I've got my bow stands up. Take the grandkids. I've got them all situated, and they're on fire. I'm gonna tell you, they're ready to go.
Now, everybody in your party, they've all been practicing?
Yeah, you know, I've got one 12-year-old that has trouble shooting a regular compound because he's small.
Yeah.
So we're letting him shoot a crossbow. And as soon as he gets older and stronger, we'll put him back on a compound bow. But that's one advantage of these crossbows.
That's a good idea.
You know, like women and smaller people and people that don't want to take a long time. It takes more time to learn to shoot a compound, you know, and more practice. But you can take a crossbow and you know, in 20 minutes you can be proficient.
Yeah, yeah. They are simple.
Yeah, they're easy to use, and I always tell people to try to use a bipod when you're shooting, because you want to steady that bow. The crossbows are heavy, and if you use a monopod, it wants to swing left and right. But if you'll use a bipod, and you can make one out of a 1x2, you know, and it'll make you a lot more accurate shot.
Now, do you do your morning hunts and the afternoon hunts?
Yeah, we have our feeders set off to go off in the morning, and then they go off in the afternoon one time. And let's talk a little bit about feeding.
Okay, we'll take a break before we do that and come back and talk about feeding. But I was going to ask you, though, if all the years you've hunted, have you, I know nobody keeps a record of it, but have you harvested more deer in the morning hunts or in the afternoon hunts at the top of your head? You know,
that's seems like there's more activity in the evening, but I believe I've killed more good deer in the morning.
Really?
And I sure love to hunt the mornings better, even though you have to get up early. But I like to get better as the sun comes up and warmer. And plus, if you shoot something, you can clean them in the daylight. If you shoot one in dark, you know, you're 10 o'clock getting home. Time you get him home, and plus, you tracking in the dark is not near as much fun as daylight.
No, that's true. Exactly right. That's the way I feel about it too. I'm a morning hunter too.
Yeah.
But sometimes your time schedule dictates when you
That's
can
right.
go or cannot go and all. What we're going to do, we're going to take this break. We'll come back and talk about feeding deer, when to feed them, and how to set them up like that. So let's take our final break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back on the final segment of Panhandle Outdoors. We're glad you're watching America's only daily outdoor TV show. We appreciate your viewership. And let's look at our time for today. We're looking at this morning from 8:23 to 10:23, and this evening from 8:47 to 10:47. If you can stay up that late and go flounder, it'll be a good time to go. Probably a lot of you folks going floundering. Some of your customers, they all started headed out.
Yeah, floundering is getting more and more popular.
Yeah. All right, now let's talk about these deer feeders and all. I know last time we were on, we were talking about getting feeders going and all. We got a nice note from a gentleman and wanted to know exactly when the times were and when we could do this. So I consider you an expert at this. So
no.
Let's see, what's your...
When we talk about feeding game, from the game department's point of view, we're talking about game feeding stations. Most people think about just feeders, but it's not. As far as the Game Commission is concerned, it's game feeding stations. Let me read you out of the book right here. It says, resident game and wild hogs may be hunted in proximity of year-round game feeding stations on private lands, provided the feeding station has been maintained with feed for at least 6 months prior to taking resident game. So we're not just talking about feeders. Feeders can be a part of it, or it may not be a part of a feeding station. Some people don't use feeders at all. They'll put corn out by itself. But the idea the Game and Fish has here, it's a year-round feeding station, not just during hunting season.
Yeah.
And this is designed so you can't just go out and put out corn or something anywhere you want to anytime.
Yeah.
And you have to do it 6 months in advance to set it up. And then, according to this, it's supposed to be a year-round maintenance thing.
Yeah.
And then you say, well, how can I feed year-round? Well, there's several ways. I use a mineral licks, and they come into that all the time. It's the mineral licks.
Mm-hmm.
And I use these blocks. You get these blocks, food blocks that got molasses and corn and peanuts and all that in them. And I break them out, break them open, and scatter them around. And a couple of those blocks, they usually last me a couple of months. Mm-hmm. And then I come in sometime and put out a little protein. Some people even they'll build a trough with a little top over it, and they'll come in and put feed in it every so often.
Yeah.
And there's no laws. There's no... the Game Fish doesn't say how often you got to feed, how much. It's not very classified. You can pretty much do what you want, and even a little food plot could be part of this because it's planted just for game. You're not doing that farming. You're not collecting corn and selling it. So this could be part of it. So there's a lot of ways to maintain. My little old plots, I usually have an eighth of a quarter of an acre food plot, and I put out these different kind of things to keep it going year round. But mine have been going for over 20 years.
That's pretty strong.
And the longer you have them there, the better they are. Mm-hmm. If a deer is born, if a fawn comes in there as a fawn and starts feeding, he's more than likely to come in. If you set up a feeding station and 6 months you're going to hunt it, it's not very likely you're going to get any 4.5, 5.5-year-old deer in there. Yeah. Chances are, if you can bring those does in there and keep them coming, then during the rut, these bucks, you're more than likely going to follow them in there. But real big deer are shy about coming around a feeder, a feeding station. And the main thing is don't go in there too regular. A lot of people go in, every 2 or 3 days and pour out corn. Well, you leave that scent in there every time you go in there. So it's a good idea to stay out of there as much as possible. My feeders will hold 200 pounds, and that'll last me about 6 weeks or so. And I don't start them up until this time of year because I want them the feeder is used, it makes a noise, it goes off in the morning, goes off in the evening, and gets them on a schedule. So that's the main advantage of a feeder. And the mineral licks, the way to make one of those, the way I found out, is put feed out on the ground, is to dig you a hole about so big around, 2 feet deep, get you some clay and haul it in there and pack that clay in there so it doesn't leach through. That clay will hold the minerals that you put in there. And you can, if you look on, there's thousands now of different kind of minerals and stuff to pour out, and so it's not hard to maintain that thing year round. And you've got a game feeding station that works, and it'll feed the game and help you to harvest more game.
And just keep it mixed up and all. That's a good tip on that clay, though.
If you put that clay in there, it won't leach through so quick. But this old sand we got, man, that's why we have to use so much fertilizer and everything, because it just leaches right through this, especially with all this rain we've had lately.
Have you been able to tell much about your acorn crop up there?
We have a good acorn crop this year, and they're falling now, and the deer are just scoffing them up.
Well,
And that's a good feeding station. It's a
sure
it's a good acorn tree.
It sure is. You have those scattered out, and that's the thing about it. You just have a constant supply, like you say, year round. You've been doing it 20 years and all.
Yeah.
So you pretty well know what you're doing, but just all different parts of the area there.
Yeah, and those deer, those fawns come in there and they learn, and it's something they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you put it out, it may take a little while for them to get used to it, for they come in on a regular basis. But if you bring the does in, the bucks will come.
And this is a good time of year to get them going.
That's right. It's a good time to. What the corn does, it's like dessert.
Yeah.
They come to this other stuff, but they really like to eat that corn.
And that's why most people that we get focused on corn, but there's so many other things.
Oh yeah,
too,
there's so much you can do to maintain a feeding station.
Yeah, and you do a good job with that, I know. Most of your hunters now, you're going to have them spread out all throughout your lease and all on the opening day, or for archery season, or you're going to have a lot of hunters in different spots. Or you just
and on our lease, each hunter has a separate area that he and his family can hunt.
Okay.
That way, nobody ever comes in and
that's
messes
a good way to do it.
And you get whatever you put into it, you get out of it.
Yeah.
That's the way that's the American way.
That's true. That's true. Well, we got another minute or two now. Any last minute tips, anything on?
I would say this. I went in at least last Saturday morning, got right inside the gate and saw a bear. Went a quarter of a mile, saw another bear. Went to one of my feeders and they torn the pole down, which is the first one I've ever had torn down. But they are very active right now. But hopefully they'll move on. It's always this time of year we seem to see more.
That had been a big bear now to tear down the feeder.
Yeah, because that feeder had 200 pounds of corn in it, and the feeder weighed about 80 pounds in the pole.
Oh my goodness!
And he broke. He pulled it completely over to the ground. The top of it broke it.
Well, they move around now trying to get all kind of food for them.
That's
winters,
right.
So they were hungry.
Yeah.
he broke in line and went and broke the pole too.
Yeah, broke the pole in too.
All right, Ron. Well, thanks, buddy, for coming on.
Yes, sir, buddy.
And we'll see you next month. And good luck on the opening of the season there.
Well, I'll have the grandkids.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. Folks, again, I want to thank y'all for watching the show. We appreciate you watching, and you do something good for somebody today, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.